So welcome everyone. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded. We're literally half and half in person and online. I don't see from my vantage point, I don't see anyone from the public for any of the public comment. Anyone there in the room, Kim?
No.
Then Chief Cartledge, we're turning it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us today, weather aside, etc.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I think we're hopefully whatever, as Kim has probably shared with you, from your perspective, how the police, your department interacts with older adults.
Okay. Yeah, there was like 4 topics that Kim had provided, but
Okay,
whatever you want to talk about.
Kim's better at this one than I am, so you go right ahead, please.
But I think I don't know, like in the police academy, if the new recruits, I think they have some sort of training on dealing with like the older populations in everyone's community. So I think that's beneficial. But when they get out of the police academy, there's a 15-week field training program, and we really try to stress like how to be a police officer in Northampton specifically, because when they go to the police academy, they're just getting a general overview of how to be a police officer in Massachusetts. And obviously each community is different. Northampton's really unique. So I think that's the training that we do internally, is where they really focus on, what we want them to be like here. So we do try to get the officers, especially down to the senior centers and some of the other living spaces where the older population lives. And we do have one officer who's like a liaison to that population. I think it's still Jeff Staples. I don't know if you guys know him or not, or he's been down here a few times, I think. But certainly it's something very important to the police department. And we try to train our officers well to be a resource for the older population as well. So do you want me to just go into these?
Yeah, if you want to, essentially what I did is based on some of the questions that people voiced at our last meeting, I forward those on to the chief. And so, yeah, if you just want to do that, and then maybe from there, if there's any questions, we can open it up to there.
Okay. Can you guys hear me okay on Zoom?
Ken, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
You're fine.
Sounds good. Thank you. So the first topic that Kim had provided was well-being checks and how like the police handle them. So those come in a variety of ways to the police. It might be someone didn't show up for work, someone hasn't heard from a loved one in a long time. I don't know, someone's just out of the ordinary, from their normal routine. So what we normally do is try to gather some information on the person before we go knocking on their door. How long has it been since they were at work or they've been seen? Are they in the hospital? Usually if we call the hospital, they won't give us too much information, obviously, because that's protected, but they will tell us if they're there or not. And then we typically will send 2 officers to the person's residence and knock on the door, knock on the neighbor's door. And if it's serious enough where we think that the person could be in danger inside, or having a medical emergency, we'll certainly, with the fire department, enter the residence and make sure they're okay. And if they're not, a lot of times we go into houses like that and they're just not there. So if it's something really suspicious or more follow-up needs to be done, we'll certainly try to do more investigating to find out where they are. So they do come in a variety of ways to us, like I said. But typically it's somebody that like missed a meal from Meals on Wheels, they didn't show up for work, things like that. like, I'd say 95% of the time they're in the hospital or somewhere else and they're safe. Sometimes, unfortunately, we find them in the need of medical attention and go from there. So, is there any, do you have any follow-up questions?
Curiosity question, if do you have any sense about how in an average month, how many well-being checks you're called upon to do?
I feel like I hear them on the radio every day. There's some
So,
sort of, I'd say, I don't have a number, but quite a few.
yeah, that was curious. Because
Yeah,
several years ago at a community session, the senior center, I was sitting at a table with one of your colleagues, and I forget what he said at number, but I was surprised then, which is why it stuck with me, that it was a higher number than I would have thought.
yeah. And one of the other questions was like how we're working together with the department or the Division of Community Care now, which is the unarmed co-responders under the Department of Health and Human Resources. And they've actually taken some of those calls from us too.
Right.
So we're still trying to work out a way where if someone calls our dispatch center, which is up at the fire headquarters on King Street, how to filter the call and where it's gonna go. So there's like this whole tree of questions that the dispatcher will ask, and essentially, if all the answers are no, they'll be able to send a DCC worker and not the police. And if there's any potential danger, or if it's a 911 medical call, by law, we're obligated to send the fire department and the police and ambulance. So, but they have helped us with those types of situations too. And
It's great.
some people call the DCC directly and they're responding, sometimes without us even knowing, which I think they notify dispatch, but, so yeah, it's quite a few.
Are they available just during business hours? They're available 24/7?
I think they're, from what I know now, they're only available like business hours.
Okay.
I know they were trying to hire a new cohort of employees to work like a split shift, like 11 a.m. to 7 at night, because really they could benefit from that. We all could if it was different hours.
Yeah, I'm a volunteer at a rest home in town, and one of the convenience stores called the police and said one of their patients was asking for money,
Mhm.
and the police had to show up.
Yeah.
It was like, really?
Yeah.
But
But
it just seemed
right. I mean, so basically over the years, the police, since we're on 24-hour, 7 days a week, any call that came in, they were like, give it to the police, give it to police. And like, which is fine. A lot of them we weren't trained for, although our department is trained so well. I feel like now we go to critical incident response training. We have our own peer support team, mental health training, it's all mental health training. So I feel like the police in Northampton now are like borderline like therapists, so that's a good thing. But a lot of these calls, the Department of Community Care, and it's like leading into the next thing is we do have two co-responders that are housed in the police department that are on a federal grant. So part of the grant is that the co-responders who are trained as clinicians, licensed clinicians, they have to be housed in the police department to qualify for the grant. So it's like a mix of the police, the DCC, these two clinicians, all kind of like trying to figure it out together. So the one thing the DCC can't do is issue, like, it's called a Section 12, so it's an involuntary committal to the hospital. We can write them. The mental health clinicians who ride with us, they can write them. The DCC, I don't believe has anyone right now who can do those. So that's where the connections are all kind of, but they've helped us in so many other ways. There's so many mental health calls that don't require a section 12. That's like an extreme case, but if we get a call now for, let's say, someone sleeping in front of a storefront on Main Street, do we have to send the police? Maybe, maybe not. If it's just someone sleeping, there's no other like medical concerns or anything like that, we could send the DCC. They'll go check on them, get them services, or maybe move them along. So
So how do you, is that listed just in the city services?
it should be, it's its own phone number. I don't know. I assume it listed on the city website somewhere, or if you call dispatch, they would be able to transfer somebody to them. Yep. Does that answer your question? Kind of.
It is, thank you.
So yeah, the Division of Community Care, they are keeping track of their own statistics, and it's hard to say like what calls they're actually taking from us, because we are trying to all work together in like this, same direction. So one of the examples I can give you is the encampment that was up by the old Moose Lodge behind Walmart.
Mhm.
So that became a big thing, and one of the ways that they were able to help us was they responded up there with us and tried to assist in moving the people, and the city actually got some containers and helped store the individual's property after they did move. So that was one of the main incidents where we worked together on, and there was another one behind on King Street near McDonald's that we worked together with too. So I don't know, is there any other questions on the either well-being checks or the Division of Community Care? The co-responders, I know I mentioned already, they're on a federal JAG grant, it's called. So everything to do with them is paid.
Michael, you had a question?
Now, are there specific protocols in place to deal with reports or accusations of elder abuse? Things seem to
Kim,
have frozen.
Kim, I think the senior center froze.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did my question come through?
Yes.
About
Okay. Because things
reporting
froze. Yeah.
reporting elder abuse.
Yeah. Are there particular protocols available to deal with that in the police department, or how is it handled?
So we would have a patrol officer take the initial report. It could potentially be moved into the detective bureau. We would also have Highland Valley Elder Services involved to be part of the investigation. And it would just be investigated probably with a detective as well. One of the last topics that Kim had given to me was any current scams, especially ones that are targeting older adults. So some of the hot ones that are happening now, there's a text that's coming out from the tolls, like if you're on the Mass Pike saying, please pay this toll, it'll, Easy Pass, once you access that, it could gain some of your personal information. So obviously all of these you do not act on or become involved. There's a Microsoft one where they will hack into your computer and try to get your passwords, and then basically tell you that they'll help you. And then once they're in your computer, they
Chris,
can
can I call you back? I'm on a Zoom.
get all your
Okay.
information. So another one that's been out there, I don't know if you've seen them, is you'll get an email or a call saying that like your grandchild is in jail, has been in a bad accident, you need to send money, wire this money immediately to this person. total scam. Never send money. And if you're on a computer and you feel like you're being scammed, if you're on the phone, you feel like you're being scammed, hang up, get as much information as you can and call the police, and never give your passwords out to anybody. One of the other ones that the detective bureau thought might be coming out soon is any type of IRS scams with the tax
Yeah.
season upon us, trying to get your social security number, your date of birth, all this stuff. So in all of these things, obviously, if you feel in your gut it could be a scam, it probably is. Unfortunately, people do fall prey to these and wire money to places, and they lose a lot of money. So yeah, from the police side of it, obviously, if you feel like it's inappropriate or wrong, it probably is. So I would just, like I said, stop what you're doing and call us, and we'll take a report. I don't know if there's any questions on those. Well, some of them, like
You could- we couldn't hear the question, Jean.
I said,
What
do
was the
they
question?
ever catch anybody?
some of the computer ones are they're routed to other
iPads,
countries. It
right.
really is difficult to track where they're coming from. Some of the smaller ones, our detective bureau is really well trained and they do end up charging people, but some of the bigger ones are really
Right.
difficult. So, yeah.
My son got one about a week ago from Florence Savings Bank. And the only reason he knew it was a scam was the gentleman on the line said, "Can I make you a time to meet with the bank to figure this out," whatever he was asking for. And he said, "What town?" And my son said, "Florence." And he said, "Yes, I know it's Florence Savings Bank." And Craig said, "No, Florence." So the person on the other line didn't even know
Right.
Florence Bank was in Florence. So Craig hung up. But Florence Bank made him take his phone to Yes Computers and delete everything back to the factory setting.
Mm,
Charged $50 to do it. And of course, had to get a new account, new everything. But they said at Florence Bank, this has been quite the
mhm.
thing. So
That's a good, yeah, that's
that's
good information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone
now
have
they're
any questions?
asking you
Any
to
questions
do
of the
the
chief?
phone thing.
Mhm.
No, I'm all set.
Yeah, me too.
No, thank you. Thank you. I
You have
appreciate
any
it.
questions of us?
No, I appreciate being invited here, and anytime there's questions or you'd like me to attend any type of meeting or event, I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
for
I-
coming.
Yeah, I just want to jump in and add in, certainly thank you, Chief, for coming today. And just really, we appreciate the partnership that we have with the police department. And certainly we have coffee with a cop on the calendar once a month. So there's always a presence here, and you have chat with the chief here as well. So we know you're always just a phone call away if you're not here.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it and appreciate all of your team and all the work that you do. So thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Every time I go downtown Main Street, how do you deal with all the panhandlers? Because some of them are elderly. And one gentleman was waiting outside Bank America the other day, and he looked very disheveled. I mean, he had to be 70. And I thought, I still wanted to give him something, but I thought, how do you deal with them all? I mean, being elderly too,
Okay.
and yet,
So that's been an issue for, a long time, and we try to, with the DCC, approach them, make sure they have the services they need. I mean, there's no law against panhandling. People who are in need of services, we will assist them and help them in any way we can. It's just, some people don't take the help that we offer, and we just try our best to point them in the right direction, you know, it's a tough situation.
I mean, I have called the DCC myself. Someone was camped out by an ATM machine and just said, just so you know, if you could look in on him the next day or something, he's been there for a little while, you know, so.
Yeah, we just want to make sure they have services if they know that, when they know that we're here, if they need us. But I know.
Are any of
Quite a
them
bit.
in organized groups?
Or organized groups?
Yes,
What do you mean, Bob?
that there's a whole crew of people that work on panhandling certain areas, and they're repeated, you know, come and go with other individuals.
Mhm. I don't know that, I don't think that, off the top of my head, I can't think of any organized groups. It's more individuals that we run into on a daily basis from town.
And as long as they stay on public property, there's no issue.
Correct. Yep.
Thanks again, much appreciated.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. well,
You're
good.
welcome to stay as we finish through our meeting, but understand it might not be the most exciting thing for you to be doing at this time of day.
I'd love to, but no.
I
Thank you.
suspect you have other obligations, yes.
Thank you. I appreciate the offer.
Thank you.
You're gonna miss the fun and dancing.
Yeah, right.
I'll come back for dancing.
We'll let you know. We'll get the invite.
Thank you.
So let's move on to the minutes from our January meeting. Everyone had a chance to review them.
Yes,
Entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the January 9th meeting.
so moved.
All
Second,
in favor? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? We're good. Kim, it's up to you. Turning to you.
Okay. All right, thanks, everybody. Just a couple quick updates. Again, I'm gonna keep these a little bit shorter today, considering we had the chief here and have a few other items on the agenda. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
Okay, great. Just reminding everybody, especially given the weather, of our inclement weather policy. The senior center will be open and will follow the municipal schedule if there's any changes due to weather. So if municipal buildings are open, we're open, and if their schedule is changed for municipal buildings, we'll follow that schedule. So just, you know, and then we work with individual instructors around classes if we need to reschedule anything.
Kim?
The next winter market? Was there a question?
Yeah, Kim, where do you find out if the offices in Northampton are closed?
That is
city
typically,
website.
yeah, it's typically posted on the city website. We'll also note that on our section of the website. It's usually front and center when you go to northamptonma.gov. They usually put it right there on the front. Typically, if folks are on Facebook, those notices also go out that way, but easiest way to find it would be on the city website. Yeah, that's probably the easiest. We also will change, if it's a situation where we're not in the building, I can change the voicemail here remotely so that if anybody then calls our main number, they'll get a message saying that we're closed. But certainly the city website's probably the best place to get that information.
Okay, last time I went on, it kept saying to be announced, to be announced, to be announced. And never.
Yeah. Past experience also is that the radio station, HMP, is pretty good at keeping on tune with school closings and office closings as well.
Do they send
Okay.
it to me?
It is on 22. We post on 22 if there's any
And
changes.
22 as
That's
well.
Okay,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not as familiar with the call letters, but it's 22.
UWLP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was just gonna say that, Mark. We're dating ourselves. We know that.
Yeah. So yes, if we're getting close, we'll also put it on there, but certainly the city website would be the best place to get that information.
Good.
In terms of the winter market as well, we're sticking with a winter theme. The next market is on February 22nd, and we've got markets also 2 in March and 1 in April coming up. Just a couple updates for programs and services. For January, we welcomed 59 new members. We also had a whopping daily attendance in January of 184 people per day,
Whoa.
which went up from 161 in December. So everybody, I maybe had a New Year's resolution to join the senior center and, and attend programs. So we were very busy in January. Wanted to give you an update. I mentioned at our last meeting that Rich Slazek was going to start a Northampton nostalgia group. And happy to report back that that was a huge success, a full room of people. I think there were 25 plus people in that group for discussion. So that went really well.
That's great.
Yeah, Michelle continues to schedule fuel assistance appointments. We've got folks helping with those. So they will run through May. So if people are in need of an assistance, in need of an appointment for fuel assistance, they can call our main number. Update on the artist of the month. We have Colleen Ahern. She's in the hallway through March, and Rachel Jenkins in the bistro and coffee shop through February. Our next arts night out is March 14th. So mark your calendars, join us. We also have one on May 9th and July 11th. So again, I think it's a great opportunity if you're not doing anything on those evenings from 5 to 7 to come join us. If not for the whole time, part of the time. Wonderful artists, a great time, and a lot of, again, community members in the building. A couple other dates upcoming to make you aware of. In April, on April 10th, we are having our second annual volunteer fair, and we're doing that in partnership with RSVP. And so we will have area agencies, other city departments that are looking for volunteers. They'll have tables, and we're hopefully looking for people who are looking to volunteer, matching them with opportunities throughout the city. So that will happen on that day. The Health and Wellness Fair will be coming up again in May. And as soon as I've got some more information on that, I'll share that with you. Wanted to let you know of another group that started. It's a widow and widower support group. They met for the first time this past week, and they're going to meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. And that was another successful group that had a room full of people too, but happy to extend that new offering to anyone who's interested. We also have an event coming up in partnership with Veterans Services. That's going to happen on Wednesday, February 26th. And it's actually going to be in the evening. So on that day, we're going to be open until 6 o'clock in the evening. And the event that's being sponsored with the Veterans Services is entitled Know It Before You Need It. Veterans Older Adults Benefits. So there will be a variety of providers there, including Highland Valley, let's see, VA caregiver support, just different services that are available for veterans in the city. Author of the month, there's been a couple months these past few months where we have not had an author, but also wanted to let you know that that program is coming back in March and April. We have 2 separate artists scheduled for that. So glad to have some artists back, or excuse me, authors back to share their writing. And a really cool group is starting on March 9th, excuse me, March 5th. We have a songwriting workshop that's going to happen. So if you are interested in writing some music, Danny Karahar is going to do 8 sessions on songwriting. So we're looking forward to bringing that new offering to anyone who may be feeling creative. And
I signed up for it.
All right, Bob. We'll expect a preview of your song when it's complete.
Find out.
You can write the official Council on Aging song, Bob.
Ah,
Our theme song.
Our theme song.
All right. Anyway, that's my update for tonight. Anybody have any questions?
Thanks, Kim.
You're
And
welcome.
I'm thinking because January was a pretty cold month. So the high attendance, maybe it was a lot of people, New Year's resolutions about joining the fitness center, but it's surprising when it was so cold that the attendance would be so high. Which is great. You want to give us an update on where other agencies and city departments and our rotating schedule of having guests come and chat with us?
I can. Let me give you an update for the next couple months. For our March meeting, the Friends of the Northampton Senior Center are confirmed to come back. So I believe there
Great.
are two folks from their group that will be joining us. The April 10th meeting, actually would like to hold that open for some senior center updates as well. At this point, I'm anticipating having another staff member or two with me to talk about some upcoming things that we're working on. So we're going to hold that date for our team. And then on May 8th, we have fire rescue confirmed. So we will have someone from the fire department here to provide an update. So we've got the next three lined. And then from there, I'll be continuing to look at confirming a date with Department of Health and Human Services. We also talked about Triad. We also talked about Northampton neighbors. So they'll be the next ones that I work to confirm.
Yeah.
But the next 3 months lined out.
Great, thanks. Much appreciated. Given the chief's comments about their partnership with community care, I'd be really interested to hear the community care side of what they're seeing, you know, what particularly focused in on older adults.
Mm-hmm.
Any other
Agreed.
comments or questions about? I think I think we've said in the past that if you have if something comes to you in the middle of the night about a department or organization that you'd like to have, so just shoot Kim an email so it can get on her list. So the next item on our agenda is a request of letter of support from the Forbes Library for a grant that they're seeking. I am on the ARP's, the selection committee is going to review those grants. So I am stepping back from this agenda item and turning the meeting over to Bob so we can, for this particular item. Thanks, Bob.
Yep. Okay, as far as based on the grant, I'm looking at the paperwork here. It's for I believe it's for $8,000. And it's to leverage existing resources, review, to get into the grant. There's a series of things that they have to have completed. And what they're looking for is, again, a letter from us stating that what they do provide and the need for them to continue. Has everybody read the document?
Can you? Sorry, Bob. I think the connection froze there for a second, but I think everything's back now. It seems to be. Can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
You know, it's really looking for us to provide a letter of recommendation for them to get to add some focus to their grant and improve their score. Did everybody get a chance to look at the document that went out?
Yeah.
I didn't know what the outdoor stage did. I didn't know what kind of programs they offered. Does anyone
It was
know?
going to be for children events and applications, whether it be storytelling, anything a lot, whether it be children's plays, any type of program that the library normally offers inside in the children's room would then be available outside for larger groups.
Okay, thank you.
And
I'm sorry, I'm going to add, it's not just kids. It's anything.
Yeah, well, yes.
It's an outdoor stage area that they've already gotten some stuff. Sorry, but I just don't want people to think that they're asking the COA for about kids.
Yeah, and I would also add to that we certainly consider Forbes a community partner, and Lisa and I communicate frequently, and also Lisa is aware that we're talking about this tonight, and so the outdoor stage is something that could be utilized by older adults, could also potentially be utilized with kind of collaborative programming between Forbes and us. So there certainly is an application here where those resources could be used for different programs. Again, either collaboratively or geared towards older adults as well.
And yeah, and also I think in the letter they had said or alluded to grandparents take the kids for different events. So that's a connection also for the Council on Aging and the seniors. So.
Sorry for my microphone. There was supposed to be a sample letter from Northampton neighbors. Have we seen that?
Bob, did you hear the question?
Because it sounds like, you know, you're calling from the Alps. It's all, it's all echo.
Well, I think in terms of the actual letter itself, I don't know that anything is finalized at this point in time. I think the purpose of the discussion at this point today was to confirm that the council, if this is something the council wants to support, and then from there
Yeah.
can look at the actual letter of support.
Well,
So I think the first discussion on the table was to discuss it as a group and see if it is something that the council's willing to support.
I think that there's a timeline that, you know, so I think that it would be a good idea. It doesn't seem like it's like heavy lifting to make a decision whether we want to support it or not, and just identify a person to draft the letter, right? And it doesn't also seem as if I can't think of any reason why it wouldn't be an asset to the community to have a performance stage that was available. I mean, it'd be available to the whole community, but you know, I think that there are quite a few people who I think children and older adults are probably make up a good deal of the people who are the consumers at Forbes, you know. So can I move that we support them? Is that what comes next?
Yeah, you can call for a vote to support.
Yeah, I move that we write a letter of support to for the Forbes grant.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None?
Mark, will you just please note in the minutes that I that I recused myself and did not vote on this?
Got it.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
But Bob, we're not letting you off the hook because we need your Highland Valley date for us.
Well, the big thing is when the current administration decided to talk about cutting all the grants, since Highland Valley relies on a lot of the federal funds that go through the state, they were quite a bit in panic mode, trying to figure out what might be affected and what might be delayed because it might have been put on hold. But that was the only real big event. We did some budget review and looked at any changes that might be made to the budget. And other than that, everything was really based on funding and possible loss of funding and where the resources would come from. We believe that everything is back on track, but it might have slowed down a little bit based on the threat of funds being cut off.
Yeah, I was wondering how that impacted Highland Valley. The temporary. I think it's I don't think it's time for anyone to breathe a sigh of relief yet.
No, you know, and there's only so much money that's in reserves to try to make up the difference if funds are cut, not eliminated, but cut. Right now, the state is saying the same thing you are. They're just going to hold their breath and find out if federal funds are going to be coming in at the same rate as they did before.
Do you know what department of the federal government is the source for the funding?
It's Health and Human
It's the Administration on Aging that's within
yeah.
Health and Human Services,
Services, yeah.
and not primarily Old Americans Act money plus, but that's where it lives.
Yeah. No, that's
Well,
all
that's-
I have.
But will that be,
Great.
is that under Kennedy?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's his new domain.
Hmm,
That's his new domain.
yeah. Okay,
and whether Doge has decided what to do with that department yet, we haven't heard.
yeah.
I think we're gonna move on so we don't go down the path where I think we kind of sort of want to go, but don't really want to go. So, our next meeting is on the 13th of March. Let's hope if it's raining, that it's not also freezing at the same time. But it was good. It was nice. It was nice to have the police chief. I'm glad it worked out, Kim.
Yes, yes, glad he was able to be here.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
Second.
I don't think there are no objections.
No.
Take care, everyone. See you next month.